So today is Thursday, 25th of June, and I'm back on the boat today on my own, being a weekday guy's off working his full-time job. So I thought I would come back and try and redress some of the disaster we had over the weekend when we couldn't find the fiberglass resin, and then we tried to do some other jobs and they didn't go very well either, so we gave up and went home. So my plan today is, if I can, while the temperature is nice and high and it's dry, is to get the Fodek fiberglass. So guys, you're back again. Can you not stay away?
I could, but you won't let me.
So, what's the plan of action today, guy?
Our plan of action today is sit here, drink coffee, wait for the rain to go off, then go home.
Champion,
Yep.
I'm up for that.
Yep.
We'd do that.
Unfortunately, that doesn't get any work in the boat.
So you have to go spoil it.
I know. Well, can't give you a cushy every day we get here. Right, so plan of action is we're going back into the engine bay, aren't you?
Well, you look so comfy in there last time. You spent such a long time in there.
Yeah, it's just as well not claustrophobic. Right, so we're going to secure the PSS, tighten that up, make sure that's
So what's the PSS again?
The PSS is the stern tube.
The stern
gland.
gland. Yeah. The dripless one. The
Dripless one,
Yeah.
yes.
So last
we
time
also need to connect up the pipe work to it.
we need the engine for that.
Well, we can put the pipe on there,
In there,
on
yeah.
there, and then we'll.
So last time, if I remember correctly, you put the boot in place and secured it permanently to the actual stern tube.
Yes.
So that's done.
Yes.
So magic is about to happen. Oh, the guy is about to fit
I would do if I could see. I need my light.
the stern gland into place. And we've been waiting quite a long while to get this done, haven't we, Guy?
Yes, we have. I'm hoping now it's going to have been worthwhile waiting. Right, so the idea is slide that end over there. That's the plan.
That's the plan, yes. Just take your time with it.
We really need to be. That one needs to be slacking slightly.
You might take them off and slide them onto the shaft there, and then slide them back on, if you understand what
Yeah,
I
I
mean.
know what you're on about doing that.
Don't forget to put that blank back in.
That over there. That over there, and then. Look at that.
Perfect.
Start on as you can get it.
The the bit that we have to finish off is where the seal goes on the shaft.
Yes, attaches to the rubber boot.
Yes, okay.
We also need that blanking plug, we need to put some PTFE tape and get that in there and sealed.
Yes.
Can't forget to do that, otherwise we'll have a leaky seal after all that. We've also got to tighten up the through-hole fittings, the anode that we fitted.
Yep.
We've also got to fit an earthing wire to it.
Yep. Cut the filler hose for the fuel tank and fit that.
Cut and secure, yeah.
And do the breather pipe for the fuel tank.
Secure the breather pipe. It's in place, it just needs securing with some cable tie or something.
Yeah.
I have a clean up in the engine bay. I wipe down just to clean everything up.
Then we need to put
earth the anode.
Yep.
Run that to the homemade buzz bar,
which will do the job perfectly.
It isn't finished, but it will do the job that we want.
We could maybe also start looking at sizing the soundproofing.
Yes, well, we'll put these are the battens that will secure the bulkhead behind the engine bay, which is where, obviously, don't know where it is, but the bulkhead board.
Oh, it's in the engine.
It's still in there.
Yeah, we never took it out.
Once we get this in place, then we can start measuring up for the soundproofing. We've got some fancy new soundproofing. We're not bloody cheap, so it better work.
Better not hear that engine at all.
Yeah. So that's the plan at the moment, and obviously as we go along, we'll probably, depending on how successful we are with this, we'll move on to other things as and when the weather eases up again, because as per usual, good old Scottish weather waits till we're here and absolutely hammers it down.
It's
as you'll probably hear
now.
Yeah, it has quietened down a bit now.
Yeah. There's quite a rattle on all that canvas a minute.
We're doing nothing until I've had my coffee.
You're a slave to that coffee, aren't you?
Oh, if I've not got my coffee, I'm not going to bugger all. You know?
Well, really? Are you any better after the coffee?
Yeah, I'll move from one place to the next.
And have another coffee.
Okay, right.
So, let's get some work done.
Right, we'll get these.
So, that's the silencer in place, finalised, gun gunked up. We finally got the right size of clamp for it.
Yep.
And the dripless bearing is also in place. Right there. We have the shaft to put in yet, and the black hose just about there. Where? Never mind. The black hose is the fuel tank filler hose,
Which has to be cut back because it's far too long.
yeah. And we've also
You better tell them also about the red cap that comes off of there.
we've got the water inlet for the engine temporarily in place. That's dry fitted. And on this side we've also done the through hull for the new drain, which is just drying out. And as Guy says, on the
red cap on the end,
red cap on the end, that comes off once the shaft's in place. Yeah,
that's just to stop the seal getting damaged when you're pushing the shaft through.
Yeah.
So that will come off.
Excellent. Right, Guy, what have you done since the last report?
I had another cup of coffee.
Is that all?
Well, what more is there to do? Right, okay, so what we've done since last time is lots of arguments and discussions on how we're going to connect the fuel supply up. Right, so if we go down into the engine bay. Right, we now have the fuel out. This is the fuel, will be the fuel supply to the engine, which is, will be secured. We haven't got the clip for this to secure at the moment, but it will be secured. That's going into the CAV filter, which is now secured. That, the fuel in, through the filter, this will run to the engine, to the fuel pump on the engine itself. So that's now been secured to the side there. The other thing we'll have to do is, this is the fuel return, which again will be secured along the top. And once we're going to have to reduce that, the inner diameter of that, because the return one on the actual engine itself is a lot, probably only about 2 mil or something.
A lot smaller than that.
It's a lot smaller than that, so we've got to reduce that. We have found a way of doing it, which we will do later.
You've connected,
We've connected the fuel supply for the heat for the cabin heater. At the side there, you probably won't see it from here, but you might. I don't know if you can actually
you can
see
just see the hose hanging there in
it's gone
the
through
locker.
the side. Yeah, it's gone
Yeah.
through into the side locker, so that's done. And I think that's been about it, because we've just been trying to adapt things to suit.
It's just taken a long time to decide where to put things and
Yeah.
how to fix them, and then finding the fixings and all of that business.
Yeah, it's just
It's
once we've got the fittings, and it all goes together pretty straightforward. It's just finding the fittings to do it. So I think the next job we've got to do, we've got to finish up on here. So I think for the next time we're here, we need to connect the earthing cable from the prop tube to the anode. And we're going to run quite a thick earth cable from the anode to a buzz bar that we have here, which will be mounted somewhere around here. We haven't decided yet, that's another decision to make. Then we're going to have to go back, double check everything that's under there, make sure everything's secure, everything's in place that we want to be, before we start test fitting the bulkhead behind the engine, because we're getting close to putting the engine in.
We need to service the engine.
We need to service, change oils, the filters.
I want to spend a bit of time touching up the paintwork on it as well, especially bits and pieces you can't get to when it's in place.
The other thing we have to do next time as well is we have to finish the drain hose, the drain pipe.
The tail, the hose tail.
Yes, that shall go in there. And then we'll just have a straightforward pipe from there to there for draining water from the cockpit. Because the one that's in there at the moment is this one, and it's not very effective, so we want one that runs straight out the
Not
bottom.
man enough to handle everything that comes into that cockpit.
No, it's not man enough for our sailing style. And the other thing is the raw water intake for the engine here. We've got to
Get a fitting to
get a
that.
fitting to adapt it to the filter that's going to be in front of the actual
So we
pump
need to go
itself.
from half-inch BSP to 3/4 inch
Yes.
BSP. Yep. And you're going to go find some fittings for that.
Apparently so, yes.
Yes.
Other than that, well, next time we'll see how we get on with the rest of it.
Yep. Tidy up time.